First of all, thank you everyone. Glad to see a few familiar faces around here. And this is not really a pitch, although if you want to help us out at the end, we would be more than grateful with some stats. We appreciate it. But basically, I'm here to talk about a pleb project that is based in Europe. To start, I wanted to compare where we are, where we could be. That would be the US. And you'll see in a minute why I'm talking about the US. Basically because we're very similar size, similar GDP, and we're fighting more or less against the same entities that are, well, pushing down on us and not really taking us into account. The US is fighting against the US government, and we're fighting against the EU, European Central Bank, EU Parliament, and we will see soon the type of stuff, to not say other words, that they talk about and that they're pushing on us in regards of regulations. So, let's see, there we go. So, why did I focus on the US and not on Africa or Asia? Because I feel like the US has something that is very important, and that is the Bitcoin social fabric. And to visualize it, we can see, for example, they have in New York Pub Key Bar, in Nashville, Tennessee, they have Bitcoin Park, they have Bitcoin Miami, Bitcoin Commons, they also have BitBlock Boom, they have Pleb Lab in Austin, Bitcoin Policy Institute, Satoshi Action Fund, all of these things, all of these community projects to a certain degree that feed off of this interconnectivity. They were all born from people meeting at some point and saying, hey, we kind of need a Bitcoin Policy Institute. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did a Bitcoin Park in Nashville? You know, some place where we can all meet. And not to forget all the, let's see, there we go. That's the next slide. There we go. Not to forget all of the meetups, because there's a lot of meetups and they all are more or less connected. And we will see soon why they're all connected in the US and why the people from California know what's happening in Texas and what's happening in Florida, and what's happening in Tennessee or New York, and why in Europe that isn't really happening, or at least it wasn't happening a year ago when European Bitcoiners was founded. So here we can see a picture, just a glimpse, not the entirety of it, but a glimpse of the social fabric of the Bitcoin scene in the US. And then I think that the social fabric is very important because, as our friend Jeff Poo said, when we connect all of these minds together, we create a sort of supercomputer. He was referring in the podcast to in real life, in a city. But I think now with the internet, when we meet online and we meet then in meetups, something similar happens. We get to create new ideas together and create new projects that push us forward and push the world forward in Bitcoin. So that's why I think that the social, Bitcoiner social fabric is very important. And meanwhile, what was happening in Europe? We see the US is full of stuff and full of companies and meetups and social fabric and people communicating. But in Europe, what do we have? Well, please insert some clown music, because we had banning proof of work, yay! We had unhosted wallets. What the fuck even is that? Can someone tell me what an unhosted wallet is? Can someone please? Any hands up? No? Right, it's bollocks. No, nobody understands. But that's what they're talking about, right? And then also, to finish it off, a digital euro. Yes, what we all want. Cyber panopticon where they can control everything we do. Of course. So that's more or less what they were doing a year ago. You can see there, 2022. By the way, they're still doing that. But we were created because in Europe we were decentralized and also disorganized. But we don't want to be disorganized because we want to fight against all of this. But to fight against this, we need to organize. We need to get together, we need to build things together. As any of you guys know, building things is not easy, so it takes time. And that's what we have been doing for the past year. When we one day suddenly spontaneously organized with this tweet. Suddenly one day, Sovereign Monk, he just tweeted this thing out. He was a random pleb, and he had like, let's say 400 followers, the classical thing for a normal pleb. But this, we could say, went definitely viral to a certain degree for a normal pleb. If Giacomo Zucco had tweeted these, or Michael Saylor, of course, these are normal numbers. But for a normal pleb, this tweet really resonated with all of us. And I am one of the people that resonated with this tweet and with this idea. So we all got together and we very quickly, spontaneously, in a very voluntary manner, one created a Telegram, the other created a website, the other had the idea, we put it together, and in no time we were running with the idea of European Bitcoiners. And why are we choosing to do this? And what did we recognize as the main problem, main barrier, the main thing that differentiates us from the US to Europe? What is the difference? Well, we noticed something. There's 40 languages, at least, officially recognized in Europe, with things like Catalan, where I'm from, that are barely recognized and barely spoken, but are also important, right? And every region of Europe has a different language. And that is a barrier, that is a problem when you want to understand Bitcoin. Because if all the content is in English, but you don't speak English, then you have a barrier. It's harder to understand. So someone had to start providing that content, that Bitcoin knowledge to all of them, to all of these people. So we decided that breaking this barrier between the US and Europe, and breaking the barrier between European nations too, because tell me, what is happening in France? What is happening in the Netherlands? Denmark, Sweden, Poland, Italy, Spain, right? Who knew 2 years ago that the Czech Republic, if you're not from Czech Republic, of course, had already a huge community? I didn't. And now we're all here realizing this, right? If anyone can tell me what's happening in Spain, I'm Spanish myself. If anyone can tell me what's happening in Spain, then we don't need European Bitcoiners. But I think any of you will be hard-pressed to tell me what's happening in Spain. Which one's the biggest community? What are the latest laws regarding Bitcoin, right? We need to somehow get this information across, get everyone together, not just from the USA, all the content to Europe, but also the information between us. The same way that the people in California know what's happening in Texas, know what's happening in Florida, know what's happening in New York. The same should be happening in Europe. And then also, European Bitcoiners to European no-coiners. We need the no-coiners to get this knowledge. But the no-coiners, many of them in Europe, don't really have English mastered, let's say. Yes, they could speak English. Yes, they can communicate in English. But give them a 5,000-word essay by Parker Lewis in English about money and Bitcoin and everything. And I bet they're going to tell you, yeah, grazie mille, no gracias, me lo leeré más tarde. So they'll never read it. And that's a missing opportunity. So that's why we came together, and what we offer more or less is a website and a Telegram. So why do we have a website? The website, we have it because it's a pleb-hosted free publishing platform, aka any pleb who is European will most likely know 2 languages, English and their local language. In my case, it's Spanish. In your case, Julian, it could be German, or I don't know, Nina on the back, she's also one of our participants at European Bitcoiners. She knows Greek, then she knows English and Greek. They can, instead of having their translated content in Medium, they can have it in a pleb-hosted, that platform that doesn't censor them and that is surrounded by Bitcoin content and not by crypto bullshit, DeFi, NFT content. Because if you go to Medium, you always have read the next article, and it's some crypto bullshit. European Bitcoiners, you get content by pleb and professional translators. You get content on articles and other books that we consider interesting. For example, Relay, they have a nice book, 10-minute book, which you can share with your friends and family here around Europe. And it's very great because in 10 minutes, it explains Bitcoin. We also host it for them, and you can find it there. And we also host any other type of archival Bitcoin content that we consider important to Orange Pill anyone in the world, especially in Europe. So that's why we have it. Instead of publishing content in Medium and having everything surrounded by crypto bullshit and in different languages and everything's lost, let's find a Schelling point, one thing, one place where we can come together. Like with money, we find a Schelling point, one money, where we can get all the information. And then also, we have the Telegram, because we need a town square. The world needs a town square. And Twitter isn't really working. It's full of toxicity, it's full of fighting, it's full of civil wars inside of Bitcoin. So what if we find a place where we can just communicate European to European, to connect, find signal, and organize. And then also to promote and boost local meetups. Like what we want to do is, oh, that's the last slide, 1 second. What we want to do is, once people understand Bitcoin and have more or less read a bit about it, they can go into a Telegram group and say, oh, okay, I'm in Serbia. Let's see. I've already learned about Bitcoin, but now I want to talk to someone. Now I want to know what this is about. Okay, let's see. Guys, any meetup happening? Yeah, don't worry. Go here, go there. And then they get further orange pilled and they go down the correct path and not down the DeFi, crypto, scam, rug pull path. So that will be also a great part of the town square that we have created in Telegram, and to stay informed on continent level stuff. Apart from that, before we move on, we have the last slide. Here is how you can help us make this better. How you can help us improve the Bitcoin scene in Europe. That will be by scanning the QR code. That will take you to a page. You can take a look over there, and you will see most likely our Telegram. You can join there. Be sure to do the CAPTCHA. It's just a little math thing. And you can also see our website and check out which articles we have there. And then also, we're also looking for pleb volunteers. This is not a company, it's not for profit. We don't want to make money. We haven't made money so far with all the work we've put into this. So it's a pleb community thing. And we need more plebs to help us, more Bitcoiners that are willing to do some proof of work. The easiest way to do proof of work would be with pleb translations. Translate an article that you really like. What's the article that orange pilled you? Translate it to your language, and then post it at European Bitcoiners and share it with your grandparents. Share it with your mother. Share it with your dad. I don't care. Share it with whoever you want. Then we also would love to have some developers. If any plebs around here are developers, we would appreciate it, because it would really help us improve the experience for everyone. And then also editors or graphic designers to make the website, visually pleasing or even more visually pleasing. And otherwise, any pleb, if you have anything that you think you can contribute to help make Europe a Bitcoin place, please do so. And that's it from my side. But before we go, there's another thing I wanted to show you. With Prague, we have partnered to do a little competition to see where everyone's from, and for Bitcoiners to show that, hey, I'm, I don't know, Canadian or Italian or Greek. Here you can use their app to send some sats, vote, show where you're from, and those sats will be donated to HRF, 50%, and 50% will also be donated to European Bitcoiners. So we're helping Bitcoin Core, and we're helping also Bitcoinization in Europe with those sats. And I invite you to participate and to show, for example, I don't know, that the USA is not the best country in Europe, for example. Even though we love the USA, Mike, please. Okay, no fighting. But come on, I want to see Spain there. I want to see Germany. Where's the Germans? Where's the 21? Get it up there. So yeah, and I think that's more or less it for me. Last thing also, check the Bitcoinetta. It's behind here. It's a Bitcoin van. Pretty cool. One day it may be in your country. Thank you very much.